The United States has just slashed visa validity for Ghanaians and Nigerians. Yes, you heard that right. From a generous 5-year multiple entry visa, all the way down to just a single entry visa valid for only 3 months. This sudden policy shift has left thousands of applicants shocked and scrambling for answers. Whether you're a student, a business traveler, or someone hoping to visit family in the US, this change could seriously affect your travel plans. So, what does this really mean? Why did the US government reduce the visa length so drastically for these two West African nations? Who exactly is affected, and who's not? And the big question for many of our viewers, is the UK likely to follow this same path? In this video, we're going to break it all down for you in clear and simple terms. We'll explain exactly what's changed with US visa policy for Ghana and Nigeria, why it happened, how it might affect your future travel or study plans, and whether similar changes could be on the horizon for UK visas too. We'll also share some practical tips for anyone who still wants to apply for a US visa in 2025, especially students and frequent travelers, and discuss alternative routes you might consider if the new rules make travel to the US too difficult or costly. Before we dive in, please note, this video is for informational purposes only. It does not constitute immigration advice or legal guidance. Always consult with your local US embassy or a qualified immigration advisor for help with your specific situation. Now let's get into the full details behind this visa change and what it could mean for you. Let's start with how things used to be. For many years, citizens of Ghana and Nigeria applying for US non-immigrant visas, like the B1/B2 visitor visa for tourism and business, or the F1 student visa, could be granted visas valid for up to 5 years. These were multiple entry visas, meaning you could enter the US several times during that period without having to reapply each time. This longer validity made life easier for many travelers. Students studying in the US didn't have to worry about renewing their visas each year. Business people could travel frequently for meetings or trade events, and families with relatives in the US could visit regularly without dealing with repeated paperwork, interviews, and visa fees. In short, the 5-year multiple entry visa gave people flexibility, peace of mind, and reduced long-term costs. So why did the US suddenly cut that down to just 3 months? The answer lies in something called the Visa Reciprocity Policy. Under this policy, the United States tries to match the visa terms it offers to citizens of another country with what that country offers to Americans. In other words, if country A only gives Americans a 1-year visa, the US may respond by reducing the length or conditions of visas it gives to citizens of that country. In this case, the US government says that Ghana and Nigeria are not offering American citizens comparable visa terms, especially in terms of duration, number of entries, or processing conditions. So as part of this reciprocal adjustment, the US has decided to downgrade the visa terms it offers to Ghanaian and Nigerian nationals. This is not the first time this has happened. The US has made similar changes with countries like China, Ethiopia, and others in the past, usually to push for fairer or more balanced visa arrangements. But for Ghanaians and Nigerians, this change is a big deal, and it comes at a time when international mobility is already becoming harder due to global tightening of immigration systems. So, what exactly has changed? As of July 9, 2025, a new visa rule has officially taken effect for Ghanaian and Nigerian passport holders applying to visit the United States. Under this new policy, most non-immigrant visa applicants from Ghana and Nigeria will now be issued single-entry visas valid for just 3 months. That's a dramatic reduction from the previous 5-year multiple-entry visas that many people were used to. Let's break that down. A single-entry visa means you can enter the United States only once on that visa. If you leave the country, even for a short trip to Canada or the Caribbean, you'll need to apply for a new visa all over again. And the 3-month validity means your visa will expire just 90 days after it's issued, whether or not you've used it. So if you don't travel within that window, it becomes invalid. This change affects a wide range of visa categories, including B1/B2 visas for tourism and business travel, F1 student visas for those studying in the US, J1 exchange visitor visas, including academic and cultural programs, and other short-term non-immigrant visa types. In simple terms, unless you're a diplomat or a government official, your US visa from Ghana or Nigeria now comes with much stricter limitations. There are, however, a few important exceptions. The new rule does not apply to diplomatic and official visa categories, such as the A visa for diplomats and the G visa for international organization staff. these applicants can still receive multi-year, multiple entry visas as before. But for ordinary travelers, students, tourists, business people, this policy marks a huge shift with major implications for how often you can visit the US, how much it will cost you, and how you plan your trips. In the next section, we'll look at how this change is already impacting travelers from Ghana and Nigeria, and the reactions pouring in from across both countries and the diaspora. Unsurprisingly, the reaction to this new US visa policy has been swift and emotional, especially across Ghana, Nigeria, and their global diaspora communities. On social media, many users have expressed anger, disappointment, and confusion. Frequent travelers feel blindsided. Some are calling the move unfair, while others are urging their governments to respond with reciprocal action against American visitors. In Nigeria, business owners who travel frequently to the US for trade expos and supplier meetings say this will make international operations more expensive and unpredictable. In Ghana, students planning to study in the US are worried, not just about their initial visa application, but about the process of renewing or reapplying if they need to travel home or attend events abroad. And for families, especially those with loved ones in the US, this policy is a huge blow. Many Ghanaians and Nigerians rely on the ability to visit family members, attend weddings, funerals, or support children studying abroad. A single-entry 3-month visa limits that deeply. Let's talk about the practical challenges this new rule creates. First, the financial burden. With the visa now valid for just one trip, people may find themselves applying again and again. That means paying the non-refundable visa fee multiple times, each time with no guarantee of approval. Next, the loss of travel flexibility. Previously, someone could plan multiple trips over several years with a single visa. Now, even one unplanned emergency or change in schedule could force you to reapply, and possibly face another interview, more documents, and delays. There's also the psychological toll. Many travelers now feel discouraged or even unwelcome. Some say they may shift their travel, education, or investment plans toward countries with more favorable visa policies. And that raises a big question. Could this change push more Africans, especially skilled workers and students, to choose places like the UK, Canada, or the EU instead? We'll touch more on that shortly. But for now, it's clear. This policy shift is already creating anxiety and uncertainty for thousands of individuals and families across Ghana, Nigeria, and beyond. So the big question is, why would the United States suddenly make such a drastic change to visa rules for Ghana and Nigeria? According to official statements from U.S. embassies in both countries, this decision is based on visa reciprocity. Under the U.S. visa reciprocity policy, the U.S. tries to match the visa terms it gives to a foreign country's citizens with the visa terms that country gives to American citizens. If a country gives short-term single-entry visas to Americans or imposes stricter requirements, the U.S. may respond by applying similar restrictions to that country's nationals. In this case, U.S. officials say that Ghana and Nigeria do not offer comparable visa privileges to American travelers. For example, Americans may not receive long-term multiple-entry visas to visit those countries, or may face higher fees or longer delays. So this change isn't just a random crackdown. It's part of a broader diplomatic message. If you limit our citizens, we'll limit yours. And this isn't the first time the U.S. has done something like this. In the past, countries like Ethiopia, China, and even some Latin American nations have been subject to similar policy changes. In the case of China, the U.S. eventually expanded visa terms after China agreed to offer Americans longer stays and easier entry. In other words, visa reciprocity can work both ways, sometimes as pressure and sometimes as a negotiation tool. For Ghana and Nigeria, the message is clear. If you want better visa treatment for your citizens, you'll need to offer the same to Americans. But until or unless those changes are made at the diplomatic level, Ghanaians and Nigerians will have to deal with this new 3-month visa limit and all the complications that come with it. Now, with the US making this bold move, a lot of people are asking, is the UK going to do the same? As of right now, the answer is no. There has been no official change to the UK's visa policy for Ghana or Nigeria. Applicants from both countries can still apply for the standard visitor visa, which allows stays of up to 6 months per visit. In fact, the UK still offers long-term multiple-entry visitor visas valid for 2, 5, or even 10 years, as long as you meet the requirements. These visas let you come and go multiple times, provided no single visit exceeds 6 months, and you don't live in the UK full-time. So, at the moment, the UK is not following the US in cutting visit visa lengths for Ghanaian or Nigerian travelers. However, it's important to be realistic. The UK has been tightening its immigration system recently, especially around family visas, skilled worker thresholds, and sponsorship rules. There's also growing political pressure to reduce net migration, and the government has been increasing scrutiny on visa misuse, particularly in cases where visitors overstay or breach visa conditions. While there's no indication of immediate changes to visitor visas for West African nations, it's something travelers should watch closely, especially as visa policies tend to shift in response to political and diplomatic pressures. For now, the UK remains a viable alternative for many travelers, students, and families. But as always, visa rules can change, and it's crucial to stay updated. So if you're Ghanaian or Nigerian and still planning to apply for a US visa in 2025, what should you do now? First, prepare stronger documentation than ever before. With the visa now valid for just 3 months and single entry, you need to be crystal clear about your travel purpose, dates, and return plans. Make sure your bank statements, invitation letters, travel itinerary, and proof of ties back home are solid and up to date. Second, be fully aware of the short validity. Your visa may expire within 90 days of being issued, not from your date of travel, but from the date it's granted. So don't wait too long after approval to book your flight. Any delay could mean reapplying from scratch. And remember, you'll only get one entry, so you need to plan your trip with precision. There's no flexibility for side trips or last-minute changes. Once you leave the US, that visa is finished. Also, prepare for higher long-term costs. If you're someone who used to visit the US once or twice a year, you might now be forced to reapply and pay the full visa fee every single time. For many people, that's simply not sustainable. Because of that, it might be time to seriously consider alternative travel destinations. Countries in the Schengen zone, like Germany, France, or the Netherlands, may still offer longer-term tourist or student visas, depending on your profile. The UK remains a strong option, with 6-month visitor visas and longer-term multiple entry choices still available. And Canada is another top destination for students, workers, and tourists, with visa policies that, while strict, may still offer more flexibility than the current US setup. Ultimately, this US visa change is frustrating, but it's also a reminder to plan smarter, keep documents tight, and explore all your global options. So let's recap the big news. The United States has officially slashed visa validity for Ghanaian and Nigerian citizens from 5 years, multiple entries, down to just 3 months, single entry. This policy affects most non-immigrant visa types, including tourist, student, and exchange visitor visas. It means higher costs, tighter timelines, and far less travel flexibility for thousands of people who regularly visit the US. The change is part of the US government's reciprocity policy, which aims to mirror the visa terms that American citizens receive when visiting other countries. Ghana and Nigeria don't currently offer long-term multiple entry visas to US citizens, so the US has responded in kind. And while the UK hasn't followed this path yet, the pressure on immigration systems around the world means it's something to keep a close eye on. Whether you're a student planning to study abroad, a family member hoping to visit loved ones, or a business traveler working across borders, this change affects you. So it's more important than ever to stay informed, plan ahead, and explore your visa options wisely. If you found this video helpful, please do us a favor. Like this video to support the channel. Comment below. Do you think this policy is fair? Should Ghana and Nigeria respond? And subscribe to Visa Pathway UK for regular updates on global visa news, UK immigration changes, and tips for navigating your migration journey. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.